Hello, everyone. Mike with Fights with Friends. I am with Ronaldo on Twitter. I had featured his tweet in my video that I was just talking about with Dana White, and unfortunately, Ronaldo was one of the many fans that purchased tickets to UFC 232 and was displaced by Jon Jones's positive test in the UFC. Can you tell us a little bit about what your week's been like, Ronaldo?
Well, it's been a pretty piss poor week as far as I'm concerned. As soon as I found out the fight was canceled, shit. I mean, I was like, is he going to give us some money or compensate us somehow? Maybe throw us a few tickets to future events? Nothing. And then whenever I started looking around on their website trying to find like a phone number or something to talk to somebody, nothing. You just have to email them. So I did that a few times, had a shitty Christmas on account of it. And yeah, so I canceled all my reservations and airplane tickets out there. I got some of the money back on the airplane ticket, but not all of it. So yeah, that's how it's been.
That's it. That just blows my mind that the UFC hasn't reached out to anyone. And I've been looking on Dana White's Twitter for some kind of apology, anything. He hasn't even addressed it on Twitter. The only thing he's done is hype the fight.
Yeah, fuck him, man. It's like I bought pretty much every one of the good pay-per-views they've ever had if I wasn't there live. And yeah, it's like, you know, what kind of business decision is that even from a business standpoint? It doesn't make any sense, I guess. He knows more than I do, but fuck. To tell 10,000 people to go fuck themselves? Oh, sorry, am I allowed to cuss on this one?
We're on the internet. You're allowed to say whatever the fuck you
Oh,
want if that makes you feel better.
yeah, he fucked me over pretty much, me and everyone else. But man, I read about one guy that was coming from Guatemala with his 8 kids, and they weren't going to give him his money back, it looked like. So there's people worse off than me, but I guess like if there's anything good that came out of it, maybe I don't catch a cold sitting on that airplane ride. You know, so,
Wow, yeah, that's
I don't
horrible.
know.
What was there anybody in this that treated you fairly, or at least refunded all of your money? Any airlines or hotels or anybody you'd
No,
like to mention?
I mean, and it's not even the airline's fault. I was flying Spirit Airlines, like the Walmart of airlines. So I don't expect much from them, but I called them and they gave me like a $200 credit, but I have to go somewhere in the next 60 days, and I wasn't really planning on going anywhere in the next 60 days. So shit, it looks like I have to plan something, you know, just to get that money back. Maybe I'll go to Las Vegas and not go to the UFC. But I mean, I still would have gone if it wasn't on New Year's, because that's a hell of a lot of travel and a lot of shit to go through when you get to the airport, and it's just not worth it if there's no UFC that's going to be there. You know, it's like Las Vegas is a big shopping mall, expensive shopping mall, pretty much, to anyone that's never been there. To be stuck there for 4 days with nothing to do but hang around drunks, and I don't even drink. I mean, they got legal weed now, but they don't even let you do it in the hotel. So if I want to smoke weed, I've got to sneak across the street, you know, and that's where I do it. But other than that, there's nothing there for me, especially if there's no fight. I mean, I can't watch those shows. The only reason I go to Vegas is for the fight. So yeah, the whole situation sucks. I forget what your question even was, but I hope I answered it. So.
No, yeah, you did answer it. I was asking if any companies had treated you
Oh yeah,
fairly. Yeah.
none of them treated me fairly. None of them called me back. I had to leave messages. Finally, you know what I did to get their phone number? I called the Nevada Athletic Commission. Some lady there gave it to me. It's a number you can't find anywhere on the internet, and they have to answer it. So that's who I called. Some weaselly dork answered with like a snotty attitude. He said, "Sir, you're not the only person that's going through with this." I said, "Well, what do we need to do to talk to somebody about this? Because, I mean, y'all need to make an announcement." let everyone know what's going on, or we're just fucked, or do y'all plan on helping people out? He said, well, he told me to email somebody, so I emailed. I forget what it was, but I emailed somebody, and they sent me an email back saying, sorry, it was card was subject to change. I'm thinking, subject to change, not subject to move to another state on 5 days notice, right?
Yeah, that's
So,
always been that's the strangest thing. It's like, yeah, subject to change, but that's not what they're talking about. And I
yeah,
would
no, it's
imagine
not.
that
I
there's
mean, Vince McMahon would never do something like that, right? I mean, the
I don't
NFL
believe
would
he
never
would.
do anything. Yeah.
I don't believe you would. They had a similar situation. I heard somebody talking about it on they were it might have been Ariel Helwani's show. I listened to a lot of MMA podcasts to do study, but somebody was talking about, I guess the WWE uh, had an event to where everybody could be there, except for some reason they couldn't have the main event where they were doing it. It was a huge event. So what they did is they showed every single fight, and then when the main event came on, they showed it
Yeah.
for everyone on a huge jumbotron.
Yeah, I remember that. It was from 3 different cities. I think it was like WrestleMania 2 or 3 or something. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. But man, instead of doing all that shit, why not just put his fight off till the next month or something? Didn't they just cancel the fight because they didn't have a main event for it? I mean, shit, they
Yeah,
could
well,
just
yeah,
move
they
it over there.
canceled.
I
They
mean,
canceled
I'd be
UFC
happy to see the
233.
women fight. Yeah, yeah. So, but
Yeah,
I mean, it's just a shitty decision all the way around.
but would that have been better if you flew out there, if you had been able to watch all the fights and then they have the main event on a jumbotron?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I would have watched anyone fight for that, man. I like to see fights. I went to the Khabib fight last month or whenever it was, September, October, and I mean, he was bitching and moaning about the fights that were in the crowd after that. Dana White was, but I was having the time of my life. I was high as fuck in Las Vegas, just watching those fights, watching the fights in the crowd afterwards, and I had the time of my life watching all that shit, all the mayhem and everything. I loved it, and I was looking forward to it again. And what's weird about his last time, he made a big deal and about all that, but this time he can't. He can move a fight and like not say a word about it. So I don't know, man. A guy get MMA fighter punching another MMA fighter after an MMA fight, it's not a big deal to me. But moving a whole fucking MMA fight 5 hours away, that's a big deal. So yeah, he should say something about it, address the fans that supported him and helped build the company, and he pretty much just wiped his ass with everyone that was going to see that event, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I don't have the reach of a lot of channels. I'm about 5,000 subscribers. But I'll tell you, and as you can see, probably I don't have a lot of Twitter followers. I've just started on Twitter, but I do know
That's
some.
the only reason I created a Twitter account was because of this shit. I don't know how to tweet or any of that stuff, but I was hoping. I know that bald idiot knows, he gets on there all the time, so I was thinking we'll go to the head liar, the place he hangs out. So that's why I got on Twitter. And I mean, as you can see, I'm pretty pissed off about it. But yeah. I mean, I don't even know who you are, but yeah. Sounds like. Did you have tickets to go out there as well? Or?
I didn't have tickets to this one. What I do is live fight companions for every event. I make different videos. I've made about 700 videos, and I've just been a fan for forever. Since the UFC's been around.
Oh yeah. Where are you located at?
I'm in the Seattle area.
Oh yeah, I've been up there before. Yeah, it's like 52 degrees and rainy every day, right?
Pretty much, except for about 2 months of the year. Yeah. I can't believe he was complaining about fights in the crowd. I've never been to a fight that there hasn't been fights in the crowd.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of going. You get to see that stuff. I mean, I don't get involved in them, but they're there if you want to watch, and I ain't looking away when it happens.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I had when I was in Boise. People may not think that's where those are the worst brawls I ever seen. Those boys know how to drink. They ran out of Budweiser before the first fight. Before the first fight started. That's how drunk everybody was. And there was a brawl that erupted like on top of the row I was in, and I look over and some cute little lady that I didn't know I feel something, and she's hovering underneath me. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was scared." I'm like, "No, I didn't know what was going on." So it's all good, beer and food all over you. But yeah, that's part of the experience.
When you say Boise, Idaho.
Yeah, I went to the Boise, Idaho card because that's just pretty close to me.
Wild cowboys probably out there.
Oh yeah, that was a fun crowd. Not all of them weren't the most educated MMA fans, so that would have maybe made it a little better. But good people, good fun people.
Probably wrestling fan crossovers.
But probably a lot of them. Was that the craziest scene, since I have you on here? I know you've been to a lot of these. Was that the craziest scene you've seen at a live event, though, with the Khabib and Conor situation?
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, I went to St. Patrick's Day. They had a UFC fight somewhere. I can't remember where that was at, but it was pretty wild, too. A lot of fights. I saw two women beat up a guy. That was a pretty wild night. There's probably 3 or 4 fights in that whole thing. You can still look up the videos for that. I forget where it was, but it was like 2013, 14, along in there somewhere. So that was pretty wild. But the Khabib fight, man, I just say that they got what they deserve pretty much. I mean, you can't insult people like that and expect them just to sit back and, not do anything. And, I don't know, people were getting laid out. There's a lot of like anti-Muslim slurs. I heard a few. Well, I say a lot, but around me, I heard them.
I heard that from several fans, that there was a lot of that going on.
And I didn't want to I didn't have a dog in the fight, I'm neutral with everybody, so I was just there to simply observe. And when the fists started flying, I just stood back and enjoyed the show. And I mean, that was damn good. That was the best one I've ever been to, and now it's followed by like the worst that didn't even happen. So it's pretty weird, but I think I'm gonna quit watching UFC pay-per-views. I'm gonna quit paying for them. That's for damn sure. From here on out. And you know what? I wouldn't even watch an illegal stream if somebody sent me the link to this Jon Jones fight. The only fight I'm interested in watching is if they re-sign Mark Hunt and have him fight Dana White with Mario Yamasaki as the referee. I'd love to see that.
I would pay to see that.
Yeah, Mark Hunt would probably do it for free too, and he'd for sure pass all the drug tests.
Yeah, that's for one thing. Just going to that Khabib Conor fight, I was kind of listening to what you were saying. A lot of times I don't have a dog in the fight either. But do you think that Khabib was justified for what he did from all from everything that was going on with Conor before that?
Yeah, I do. I think Conor got off light too. But he's he threw a dolly through the bus window, and I don't even know what his punishment was. It was so light. He was like fighting the same year. So if I did that, I'd be in a crazy house. They'd have me strapped up in an institution. If anyone else did that, you'd be on probation for years, probably have your license revoked, never be able to legally own a handgun ever again. And that son of a bitch, he's not even from this country. Everyone's bitching about Mexicans and stuff. I mean, not to get off on a political rant, but I mean, a guy like this comes over and does shit like that, and they don't even send him back. So I don't know, man. Maybe I'm overreacting because it was a UFC fight, but.
Well, I felt the same way. I try to stay non-biased most of the time because I commentate these things, and I have a lot of people that have fans on both sides, and I have some streams where I've had 50,000 people. So you don't, I try to stay non-biased. That one, I really couldn't. I put myself in Khabib's shoes, and it's like, man, somebody talked to me like that for that many years. I don't care if it's a fight game or what. You're getting your ass whooped.
Yeah, you got to look at where Khabib's coming from. He's coming from a totally different world than, American culture. And he's got to go back up there and live with those people that he's lived with his whole life, and he's going to live with for the rest of his life. I mean, that's his number one priority in life, not fighting or selling a fight or any of that shit. So, I mean, when you look at it that way, you're thinking, shit, yeah, he did what he had to do, and I hope he had more time to do it. So, but I don't know, he's pretty good in there, and yeah, hopefully they let him fight again. But see, that's the thing. Am I going to watch a Khabib fight ever again? I don't know. I might not. So I don't know.
Just so sad to me, and I apologize. I'm very sorry for what happened to you, and I wish somebody that was responsible had reached out and apologized to you, because you and a lot of other people that were left out definitely deserve it, and I believe deserve some kind of compensation.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just a free ticket. They could even put me up in the cheap seats and I wouldn't care. But just something to say, hey, sorry we fucked up. Here's some tickets. Because don't they hand out free tickets to every show? They're not all completely sold out. Maybe the big ones are. But, I mean, send me even a fight night or something like that. Shit.
Yeah, I felt that they should have done something like that. And I'm hoping that they reach out and do something like that here in the future. Hopefully they do. But the fact that they haven't mentioned, they almost act like it hasn't even happened. It's almost like an out of body experience. Me watching this, it's such a horrible way to do business.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. But what can you do, man? So.
Yeah, well, hey, I thank you for coming on here. I wanted to get a chance to talk to you, because when I seen your tweet, the reason I contacted you right away when you said you made a Twitter account, that was the only reason you made a Twitter account. I thought that's exactly what I would do. so I was like, I want to talk to this guy and at least give him a chance to tell his story to other people. And
well, I mean, I'll probably take the Twitter account down. I don't know, man. I'm kind of getting over it at this point. So, I'll probably take it down here in the next couple of days after he sees how pissed off I am. If he ever does, who knows? But, yeah,
there's a lot of people out there. Hopefully he sees this video. I know the other video I sent that had your tweet in it. I sent it to him, and several other people did. We'll see if he gets it. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be great. I mean, fuck, what do you expect? You skip town in the middle of the night over a failed drug test, leave 10,000 people holding the bag, and I mean, we're supposed to just, and not to mention it's New Year's, and what else am I going to do? Now I got to come home and look for a shitty party in a shitty town. Fuck, when I was expecting Las Vegas. Yeah, that's why I'm pissed off staying white. So,
well, and it seems like
it
seems to me like the UFC really, and until maybe recently, last 5 to 10 years, really catered to their hardcore fans. I kind of wonder if this would have happened under the Fertitta brothers.
Yeah, man, that's the thing. The Fertitta brothers aren't there to keep him in check, and he's just making all sorts of tantrum decisions. He throws these tantrums when he doesn't get his way. That's what I'm guessing happened. He's like showing the Nevada Athletic Commission, I'll just move elsewhere. And because I'm sure that Las Vegas is, taking a hit on that too.
Oh, absolutely. They can't be too happy with him. I mean, they're not going to kick the UFC out because that's a lot of future business. But I heard rumblings. I'm not sure exactly that they were concerned that they could face some kind of liability if something were to happen to Gus in the fight. So
Well, just cancel the fight and let us watch the rest of the fights. I wouldn't have complained.
yeah, or
Like I said,
put another
yeah,
pay-per-view on there. Offer the Diaz brothers some real money, one of those guys, and throw them in the main event.
yeah. So I mean, people are going to come to it regardless because it was on New Year's or right at New Year's. You know, the 29th, I think. So,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
I mean, it just seems like a Dana White move to do. You know, that I'll just move the whole show and piss everyone off.
Yeah, just in my opinion, it really does seem like the Fertitta brothers held him back emotionally for a lot of years and kind
Yeah.
of kept the whole thing going.
I mean, honestly, if you asked me about him last week, I'd say he seems like a fairly decent guy. I know he's always fucked the fighters over, but the fans, it seemed like I've never been fucked over. Actually, you know what? I've been fucked over twice. You know when that happened the first time? I should have told you this right off the bat. When Jon Jones, it was Jon Jones again, he wouldn't fight Chael Sonnen. Remember that? He
Yeah,
backed out.
yeah,
I was
on
supposed to
eight
go to
days'
that
notice.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah, and that thing got canceled. So I had to go rent a kayak and go to whatever the hell, the Hoover Dam, Lake Mead, and kayak and still watch the UFC fight. I didn't back out that time. Still, that's the second time I've made plans to go out there and see Jon Jones fight, and both times this happens.
wow. So I mean, I was looking at some numbers the other day. I look at a lot of pay-per-view numbers, and the amount of people that order the majority of pay-per-views, and one of the lowest selling ones recently, I believe it was the Amanda Nunes and Raquel Pennington one. I got that one. Only 80,000 people bought that pay-per-view. It is an
Damn.
enormously small percentage of the country that's buying the majority of pay-per-views. I mean, we're in
Well,
like probably a tenth of 1% for a lot of these.
do you have a calculator? Uh, how much is it? What did you say? 80,000?
80,000, I'm pretty sure, was the Amanda
Oh,
Nunes versus Raquel
well,
Pennington.
then do that times $65 because that's what they charge me to watch it and see how much they're making off of it.
Oh yeah, I figured it out. It was less than the $10 million that they're gonna get for ESPN from ESPN per fight.
Oh
So
yeah,
that was, but it was still, yeah, 80,000 times 65, still a lot of $5.2 million. That's not counting the
damn.
live gate, and that's not counting all the
Yeah,
advertisements. And that's
shit.
the lowest selling pay-per-view, I believe, since UFC 1, I want to say. I could be wrong, but
Yeah.
I was looking at UFC pay-per-view numbers. It's definitely one of the lower selling ones ever.
Well, yeah. I mean, they're starting to do some weird moves too lately. You know, like they canceled that fight whenever that was, UFC 234 or
Yeah, 233
235 or
is the
something.
next one. So I have to think that that had some bearing on their decision in this one, because it's like you can't cancel another one. But like you said, I think they could have thrown another event in there. Maybe Daniel Cormier would have fought, again on short notice. Or there's a lot of guys out there that I think
Yeah,
would have
there's
been
always
happy to
guys
jump
ready to
in.
go, like two heavyweights that don't have to cut weight or something.
Yeah, or drop.
Well, I guess they'd have to be fairly big names, but yeah,
Well, Junior Dos Santos is out there. He's walking around 240 something, and I think he's in shape to fight right now. They could have probably moved up Kane and Francis Ngannou. I know Kane walks around at less than
yeah, I
265,
saw that.
and Ngannou is smaller. I don't think too many people would have complained over seeing that fight.
No, not me. Hell no. Francis, who'd you say? Kane and Francis
Francis
Ngannou?
Ngannou and Cain Velasquez.
Oh damn, that, that'd be just as good as this one. Maybe better. Somebody'd be knocked out.
Yeah, they're
Um,
fighting. I think it's February 19th on the ESPN Plus card. But yeah,
shit,
yeah, that would have
I don't
been.
know if I'll watch that. So, see, it feels like a nasty breakup because all I had was good times with the UFC, and then I get double crossed after 15 or 20 years, whatever it's been, since bought my first video at Blockbuster. I think it was Dan Severn and Ken Shamrock. And it was a pretty shitty card. It was a card where they just rolled around on the ground
Yeah, I remember that one. I think it might have been UFC 10. I know
Yeah, it's
that was it
possible.
was right before they maybe right before they started making the rounds, but yeah, somewhere
Yeah.
in there. But yeah, I hear you. The reason I brought up, the small amount of pay-per-view people that are buying these pay-per-views, though, it's like
Oh yeah.
if they piss off too many people like me and you, and that base leaves, and then there's a drop in popularity, they lose their flyby casual fans, which they could care less what they're watching. They'll go watch basketball. They'll be done.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't care.
Yeah.
But yeah, I kind of have a theory that maybe all the big stars are kind of retiring or going away, and a lot of people don't know who these new guys are. And shit, I forgot what my theory was. Oh, it was what they're going broke. Basically, is what I think. They've been pulling out, doing a bunch of weird stuff where they cancel the fights and move them around like they did this one. So maybe they're gonna make more money canceling the fight in Vegas and moving it to California because Jones will be on the pay-per-view compared to if they just kept the pay-per-view without him. So, if you start adding numbers up like that, maybe it
Yeah,
makes sense from a business standpoint. So who
that
knows? But
that's a good point. I'm sure it would have definitely affected pay-per-view numbers because I don't know about you. Even if I know I'm going to watch a fight, I don't usually order it until like that day or the day before because there's no rush.
yeah, I worry like 10 minutes before the thing starts. But yeah, yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, hey, thanks again for being on here. I hope somebody reaches out to you. What if somebody were to contact you? I'm not saying they were about a lawsuit or something. Do you think this is serious enough? Do you think that there should be some kind of group class action lawsuit?
Man, to be honest, I hate going to court, and I lost whatever the amount I lost. I don't. I'm not one to sue people. I mean, that's why I've always liked fighting because I've never been a, do it that way kind of person. So, no, I wouldn't sue him over that. But I mean, fuck, he's got to say something to somebody. Just an apology, and I won't be nearly as pissed off. And I don't know. But yeah, you got me kind of happy again talking about all those fights earlier.
Yeah, it's one of those strange things. It's like that's why I was like, man, if I was in that position, I was like,
I
I
mean,
don't know if I'd
but you
ever
got to
watch a
ask.
UFC.
Yeah, you got to ask the guy from Guatemala with 8 kids that he might want a lawsuit. That he's losing way more money than me.
Yeah,
So
I'm hoping to have other people on here talk about the situation. I mean,
yeah,
Gustafsson's family, a lot of people flew in from Sweden. A lot of
shit,
people.
that's big money right there. That's a long ass flight.
Yeah,
So
and I'm not
yeah,
sure how
good, good
many of
for
them
him.
are going to be able to get tickets to Los Angeles.
Probably none of them. Not on a 1 day notice.
Did we
That's
go
gotta be
over?
weird.
I couldn't remember. Did they send you a code or ask you if you wanted tickets to Los Angeles or try and make it easier
Yeah,
for you to
they
buy
they
those?
sent me an email saying like I could get them 2 hours beforehand, and I just like wrote back, "Fuck you, I'm never buying a pay-per-view again." Pretty much the same stuff I wrote on whatever the hell, Twitter. But no, yeah, they did send me that, but no, I didn't take advantage of it. And I kind of thought I was like for the first like 30 seconds, I was thinking about how hard it would be to rent a car and then drive over there. But then I'd have to get a hotel and then drive back the next day. And I mean, that's a lot of damn traveling too. And I always hear that Los Angeles traffic is the worst. So I didn't want to sit in it. But I don't know, maybe some people did.
Yeah, I've heard it was insane. It'll be interesting to see how quickly the tickets sell out. Just out of curiosity, I was looking earlier today, and there were still plenty of tickets available. So, I mean, it's pretty
Well,
short notice.
tell me this. How many tickets were already sold for the one in Las Vegas?
I don't know. You know, I hadn't looked at that. I imagine it was probably sold out. I'd be surprised if it hadn't.
Oh shit!
I imagine it would have sold out. Usually, that big of a card, I think, within a few hours.
God damn, it's a full house, and he just
Yeah.
kicked everyone to the curb.
Yeah,
God,
I would be very
dirty
surprised if there
move.
was still any tickets left when they canceled it.
Man, Dana White's the one that needs to be drug tested.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, if you watch that video I made that has this link in it, I have a link to it's an interview with his mom, and his mom says she thinks he's on steroids. So
Shit.
if your mother says that, that's probably not a good sign.
Yeah, what his mother said he was on steroids.
Yeah, it's an interesting interview I found. I put a link to it in the video. If you go to Fights of Friends, I put a link to my channel there too. It's like a 9 minute and something. I guess she wrote a book on Dana White. Basically, she says that he's not a good person. I mean, it's pretty intense.
She wrote a book.
Yeah.
And this is really his real mother. You're
Yeah, it's his real mother, June White.
June White. Well, that's crazy.
Yeah,
That's even a crazy thing to do if you're pissed off at anyone or your son. I mean, if my mom wrote a book at me, I wouldn't like that. You know, they know all the secrets and they're probably true. So who knows? But yeah, that's kind of a shitty thing to do. But
Yeah, that's pretty intense. I get the idea. You're a pretty mellow guy. You seem to be calming down, more calm than I would be probably by this point.
Well,
already.
This has almost been like a therapy session. You've talked to me. You're the only person to reach out at this point. So I don't know. Maybe that's all I needed. But tomorrow, I'm sure I'll wake up pissed off, and I'll for sure be pissed off on Saturday the 29th, whenever who knows what I'll be doing that night, but I won't be watching the UFC. I'll tell you that much.
Well, the UFC has done a great disservice to you, my friend, to such a big fan and someone that's given so much to the UFC to not reach out to you or give you any kind of compensation. I wish they had, and I hope they see. I hope, they see some of these tweets like yours, some of these videos and things, and maybe somebody in their customer relations or something comes out, and I hope they send you guys something.
I highly doubt it, because, man, I already tried that. But I don't know, maybe somebody in charge will get
Even a free pay-per-view. Hey, Dana, listen to this guy, yeah. Dana. Give this guy some pay-per-views and a free ticket somewhere. He's one of your biggest fans.
Yeah, I'll settle for a cheap seat at one of the fight nights. So let me know. I got $200 credit with Spirit Airlines left, so whatever that can give me, I'll fly out there.
All right. Well, I invite you to check out my channel. It'd be great to see you in the comment section, or even, if you do end up continuing to be a fight fan. I do some boxing and Bellator and other stuff. If you, I wouldn't blame you if you kind of sever ties with the UFC. Yeah, if you end up severing ties with the UFC, I wouldn't blame you. But yeah, we'd love to have you over in the, community in the comment section and the live streaming over on Fights with Friends and.
Fights and Friends.
It's fights. Yeah, it's Fights with Friends. I sent you the link. I'll send it to you again in the Twitter. And I'll send you a link to this interview so you can watch it back.
And what was your name, Dave?
My name's Mike. Mike of Fights with Friends. Yeah.
Mike at Fights with Friends. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll look at that and check it out.
All right. Well, thank you again, sir. You have a great night. I greatly appreciate your time. And like I said, I apologize for what's happened to you, but I'm glad that I was able to give you a little bit of time, hopefully, to vent a little bit. You definitely deserve it.
I really appreciate it. I feel a lot better after speaking with somebody then, so thanks.
All right, absolutely. For Mike with Fights with Friends, Ronaldo, again, thank you. Guys, as always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses later.